So look, it is way too late at night for me to be staring at my screen. And honestly, my eyes are practically bleeding from watching these episodes back to back. But we need to talk about what is happening in Port Charles right now. I mean, seriously guys, what are the writers even doing? Are they trying to give us all whiplash? Because I definitely have whiplash. But here I am typing this out before my deadline because I know you guys are probably just as stressed out about all this drama as I am. And we just need to vent. My coffee has been cold for like 3 hours. My cat is screaming at me for dinner. But I cannot stop thinking about the absolute mess these characters are making of their lives this week. It feels like everyone is just running around stepping on rakes, and maybe I'm being too harsh, but come on. You watch the show, you know exactly what I mean. Let's just dive right into the deep end because there is so much to unpack from these mid-March episodes, and I feel like I'm losing my mind. Trying to keep the timeline straight. And let's just start with what went down at Charlie's pub, because that was honestly terrifying for a second. So Molly collapses. Just boom, hits the floor, and Cody goes into absolute, total, complete panic mode. I mean, can you blame the guy? You're just hanging out, having a normal day, and suddenly your girlfriend is unconscious on the floor of a pub. He is frantically trying to wake her up on Wednesday's show, and the sheer panic on his face. Honestly, kudos to the actor because I felt my own heart rate spike. Cody has come such a long way from the grifter guy we first met, hasn't he? Sometimes I forget how annoying he used to be because right now, he is just this incredibly sweet, supportive boyfriend who is terrified that the woman he loves is seriously hurt. But of course, because this is Molly we are talking about, the second she regains consciousness, she immediately starts arguing. She assures Cody that she's totally fine and insists she doesn't need a trip to the hospital. Which, let's be real, is the most Molly Lansing Davis reaction ever. The woman could have a severed limb and she'd be like, no, it's fine, I have a brief to file, just put a band-aid on it. But Cody is not having it. He insists on taking her to get checked out anyway, and thank God somebody is finally putting their foot down with her. Sometimes, people need to be saved from their own stubbornness. So it turns out, and we all kind of saw this coming if we've been paying attention to the clues, Molly eventually has to come clean about her endometriosis. She's having a terrible flare-up, and that's what caused the collapse. And guys, I have to say, I am actually really glad the show is tackling this. Usually soap operas give characters some fake, incredibly rare tropical disease or a brain tumor that makes them act evil. But endometriosis is so real and affects so many women. Molly is going to be so relieved once she just comes clean to Cody about her condition. She's been carrying this weight, trying to be the strong, perfect lawyer who never shows weakness, and it's literally breaking her body down. General Hospital spoilers are saying Cody is going to prove he's a supportive boyfriend as they work through this together, and honestly, I am here for it. We need at least one couple that actually supports each other instead of just lying for no reason. But speaking of lying and secrets, let's pivot over to James and Nathan at the batting cages. And guys, I have to say this scene was actually kind of adorable, but also made me want to pull my hair out. Little James is hitting baseballs with Nathan, and he just casually drops the biggest bomb. He literally stops, looks at his dad, and asks, "Don't you want a girlfriend or something? I swear I almost spit out my drink." Kids on soaps are either entirely invisible for months at a time, or they suddenly show up just to ask the most devastatingly perceptive questions possible. James admits that even if Nathan isn't getting back together with Maxie, he doesn't mind if his dad wants someone special in his life. He just wants his dad to be happy. And you can see Nathan's brain just short-circuiting. Because on one hand, this is music to his ears. He's already kicking off this secret, messy romance with Lulu Spencer, and hearing his son basically give him permission to move on is huge. But on the other hand, Nathan leaves James in the dark for now. He doesn't say, "Actually, buddy, I'm dating your mom's best friend." Because how do you even explain that to a kid? And honestly, let's talk about Maxie for a second. Maxie literally chose Damien Spinelli. She woke up from her coma, looked at her options, and chose Spinelli. Which, okay, fine, whatever, Spixie fans rejoice, I guess. But she doesn't get to be mad that Nathan is moving on. And she definitely doesn't get to be mad that he's moving on with Lulu, even if it is a little weird. Maxie already ran to Dante's precinct to tattle on Lulu and Nathan like they are all in middle school. It is so frustrating. Nathan deserves to be happy, and if Lulu makes him happy, Maxie needs to just back off and focus on Spinelli. Okay, that sounded dramatic, but you get what I mean. The hypocrisy is just wild to me. So, meanwhile, over at General Hospital, because obviously half the town is always at the hospital at any given moment, Dante is talking to Elizabeth Baldwin. And he finally fills her in on the whole Nathan and Lulu dating situation, which we all know Maxie already ruined by running to Dante first because she just couldn't help herself. Liz, being the good friend that she is, asks Dante how he actually feels about it. And Dante admits that it's complicated. Complicated? Yeah, I bet it is, Dante. I mean, think about their history. Years have passed since Nathan's so-called passing, and a lot has happened between Dante and Lulu since then. They didn't even reunite when Lulu woke up from her coma. They had been broken up for a long time before she even fell into the coma. But Liz pushes him a little. She suggests that if any part of Dante feels like he wants to try again with Lulu, now is the time to speak up before she gets too deep with Nathan. But Dante says no. He admits he doesn't want to get back together with Lulu, but he's glad to just sit there and commiserate with Liz. And this is where the scene actually got really good because they bring up Lucky Spencer. Liz understands Dante's perspective perfectly because part of her will always love Lucky, despite the fact that they've both moved on and lived entirely different lives. That feeling of always having a tether to your ex even when you know you shouldn't be together is so real. I love when the show remembers its own history. Liz and Lucky were the IT couple for so long, and acknowledging that she still has that soft spot for him makes her advice to Dante so much more meaningful. Dante doesn't want Lulu back, but it still stings to see her with someone else, especially one of his closest friends. It's messy, it's human, and I am kind of loving the dynamic between Dante and Liz right now. Maybe I'm crazy, but are they testing the waters for a Dante and Liz pairing? Because I wouldn't hate it. And then there is Sonny. Because it wouldn't be a week in Port Charles without Sonny Corinthos making terrible life choices and dragging everyone else down with him. So Alexis Davis, who is already dealing with so much stress regarding the whole Danny and Scout restraining order situation with Willow, stumbles upon Sonny and Rick Lansing. And they literally have their heads together looking sketchy as hell. Alexis immediately goes into full lawyer grilling mode. She puts Sonny through a massive grilling session because she knows that whenever Sonny and Rick are whispering in a corner, something illegal or disastrous is about to happen. Their brotherly dynamic is so toxic, but I can't look away. Sonny actually gives Rick a chance to back out of their arrangement, whatever it is they are plotting. He basically gives him an out. But Rick, in a classic Rick move, proves his loyalty by staying on board. Why does Rick always do this? He has this desperate need for Sonny's approval. Even when he's trying to play the straight and narrow and pursue Elizabeth. If Rick blows his chances with Liz because he gets caught up in Sonny's mob drama again, I am going to scream. I will literally throw my laptop out the window. But wait, it gets worse for the justice system in Port Charles because we have to talk about Ada Justine Turner, an assistant district attorney, a woman whose literal job is to put criminals behind bars. And what is she doing? She is acting completely nonchalant about her recent sizzling developments with Sonny. She spent the night with a town mob boss. What is this? 1,998. How many times are we going to watch Sonny romance a woman in law enforcement or the legal field? Justine is trying so hard to convince herself that she can just put that night with Sonny behind her. She's walking around acting like it was just a one-time fling and it won't affect her job. But the spoilers say she may find herself tempted all over again soon. Of course she will. It's Sonny. He's going to show up with dimples and a brooding stare, and she's going to risk her entire career for him. It is so predictable, but I know I'm going to watch every second of it and complain the whole time. What were the writers thinking with this? Who actually believes this is going to end well for Justine? She is going to end up disbarred, fired, or worse, and Sonny will just move on to the next one. Let's circle back to Lulu for a second, because while all this mob drama is happening, she is dealing with her own mess. Lulu decides to open up to Tracy Quartermaine about her feelings for Nathan and the massive drama her new romance has stirred up with Maxie. I have to pause here. Tracy Quartermaine. Really? I mean, I love Tracy, she is an absolute icon, but since when is she the go-to person for romantic advice? Actually, you know what? Maybe it makes perfect sense. Tracy is brutally honest. She doesn't sugarcoat anything. Lulu probably needs someone to tell her to stop whining, own her choices, and stop worrying about Maxie's feelings. Tracy will probably tell Lulu that Maxie made her bed with Spinelli and now she has to lie in it. I am really looking forward to this scene because Tracy's one-liners have been on point lately. Lulu needs a reality check, and Tracy is exactly the person to deliver it. And finally, across town, we have a little moment with Emma Scorpio Drake and Giovanni Gio Palmieri. Emma is stressing out, thinking she's just going to have to accept the fact that she's going to fail. And I'm sitting here like, fail what? A test? A college class? Some secret WSB training mission? The spoilers are so vague. We'll see if this is about a test, a class, or some other mission entirely. Come on guys, give me a little more than that. But Gio steps up and gives Emma a much-needed pep talk. I really like Gio. He brings this nice, grounded energy to the show. And seeing Emma all grown up and stressing about normal or maybe spy-related things just makes me feel so nostalgic. I remember when she was just a little girl carrying around that doll, and now she's having heart-to-hearts with Gio. It's a nice palate cleanser from all the heavy mob and medical drama going on everywhere else. So yeah, that's where we are at. Molly's collapsing, Cody is panicking, Nathan is getting dating advice from his kid, Dante is trauma bonding with Liz over their exes. Rick is getting sucked back into Sonny's orbit, the Ada is sleeping with the mob boss, and Lulu is getting life advice from Tracy Quartermain. It is a beautiful, chaotic disaster, and I am entirely too invested in it. I need to go microwave my coffee and maybe take a walk outside to remember what the real world looks like. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, because I know you have opinions on Maxie's hypocrisy. I'll be back tomorrow, probably still complaining, but definitely still watching.